Good morning, all. I'm very pleased to meet once again with the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni. When we last met, I was in Rome just a couple months ago with a bipartisan group, and it's an honor to actually host her here. But as explained to the Prime Minister, when we departed, the Republicans and Democrats alike turned to one another and said, she is probably one of the most impressive leaders we have found on our trip. We've watched that you were looking forward, not backwards. How to bring Europe together, show leadership in Ukraine, but at the same time, the strategy to build for the future. You know, the first European country I visited as speaker was Italy, and there is a reason for that. It's the friendship that transcends the parties and politics. Italy's rich contribution. You just go out those doors and you can see the Italian culture with a contribution to America. The Rotunda, painted by Brumidi. We've watched it time and again. And on a personal note, you know, it wasn't that long ago that young immigrant of 11 years old left Italy to come to America. His name was Guido Palladino. He was my grandfather. To look for a better life, to be able to grow. And now his grandson is the 55th Speaker of the House. When I was in Italy, the speaker there provided to me his original birth certificate. Now, I was able to show the Prime Minister his Ellis Island record of entering America. The bond between these two countries is very strong. And how do we continue to build for the future? I think with this Prime Minister and her strategy for the future and the connection with America will only be stronger. We had a bipartisan meeting with leaders on both sides here. We'll have a lunch afterwards. She will meet with the President, and we will continue to build that bond so further grandchildren will be able to understand not just their history, but why we keep it and why the world, through our democracies, is safer and stronger. So I give you the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I want to thank Speaker Kevin McCarthy, my friend, Speaker Kevin McCarthy, for this occasion he gave me. I want to say that I'm very glad to be here in the heart of the American democracy, and in the place that Thomas Jefferson, at the time Secretary of State of President George Washington, wanted to call Capitol Hill to commemorate the famous Temple of Jove on the Capitoline Hill, Il Campidoglio, one of the 7 hills of Rome. And I say it for it is another sign of the incredibly strong ties between Italy and the United States. Ties that have become even deeper in recent times after the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. More than ever in this international juncture, our relations are essentials. More than ever, we must be able to rely one on the other. Today we had the occasion to exchange views on many international issues, from the war in Ukraine and its effects worldwide, in particular regarding food security, to the stabilization and development in the Mediterranean area, moreover in Africa, the Indo-Pacific, and Italy's next presidency of the G7. I was glad to have this debate with representatives of Congress because it gives me a complete picture of the foreign policy landscape from representatives elected by the American people. And I've been in politics for most of my life, and I've been a member of parliament for many, many years. So I perfectly know the importance of parliaments in democracies. And That's why I'm so grateful to Speaker Kevin McCarthy, whom I had the pleasure to met already in Rome a few months ago, and to the representatives I met today for the time they wanted to spend with me. And last but not least, I'm happy to be here in a place decorated by these wonderful frescoes of Costantino Brumidi, another Italian. For this place represents and sums up also the stories of all the Italian Americans who, with their lives, with their efforts, with their dreams, with their creativity, contributed strengthening the bonds between our two people and contributed to make this democracy the great democracy it is. So I want to say that I'm proud of these Italians. I'm proud of your grandfather too, Kevin. And I really want to thank them for the contribution they brought to the history and the culture and the identity of this nation. Many of them are today representatives, and that shows the role Italy has had for the history of the United States. And that is one reason more to continue strengthening our relation, our cooperation, our friendship, particularly in this tough world, in this tough situation. Many things are changing around us. But there is something others didn't expect that we should perfectly prove, that the West world is united and wants to defend the world based on rules. For without a world based on the international law, we would live in a world of chaos in which whose military stronger things can invade his neighbor. That's not the world we want to live in. We want to live in a world in which we can respect sovereignty and freedom. Thank you very much.
Great job.